Oh, we're live now.
Oh,
How's it going, everybody?
hello, hello.
I say that like I could hear them.
I
I
know.
I was just about to tell you, I'm really like out of it today.
No, I am too, and I think it's
I
like
think
obviously
it's
we can't talk about it, but I think it's because of our day yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah,
We had a pretty, not even it wasn't an exhausting day in terms of
yeah.
like stress or like
It was actually an incredibly stress-free day.
yeah,
Yeah,
which will tell you we shot a music video
yeah,
yesterday. And it was nice how stress-free it
yeah,
was. It was just like, oh, we're not
yeah,
in a hurry. There's plenty of time to get all the shots we need.
yep.
I do think it's going to be a really beautiful
Oh,
video. I'm
stunningly beautiful.
like kind of over the moon about it. I was like, oh, you know what? This will be a nice video.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I just didn't put too much expectation into it. And once we were filming it, I was like, holy cow,
Yeah,
it's gonna be really special. So
yeah. I know for me it is. We were in some very bright sunshine for many hours.
yes.
And I have very, very pale skin that no amount of sunscreen seems to
Oh,
completely. So despite trying to stay in the shadows, I think my exhaustion mostly comes from that. Also, I never quite sleep as well when I'm not in my own bed.
especially when it's short
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And like, well, and also yesterday was a really early day,
Yeah.
and it's really hard to get real sleep when you know you have to wake up
Yeah.
at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So
We're
yeah,
a little spacey today, guys.
literally, but we
Yeah.
we flew into the airport this morning, into the Burbank airport, and I started panicking. I'm like, do I have the keys to my car? And where are they?
Yeah.
Like what? And I was like rummaging through my bags, and they were there, but I was like, I've been on autopilot all day. I don't even know what like you
Yeah.
guys know how that is when you drive somewhere and you're like, how did I get here? I
Yeah.
don't remember taking a single turn.
The like casual disassociation.
Yeah. You're like, where was I? I don't know where I went, but I wasn't here.
Do you do what I do when something like that happens, when you're like, where's my keys? And you immediately go into contingency plan mode where you're like, okay, if I don't have my keys,
Right.
this is who I'm going to call. Okay, wait, no, I can do this. Okay, no, wait, I have that number. Do I have my credit card? And like, I go down this manic list in my head of how can I fix the situation before I even know if it is a situation.
Right. I did automatically start thinking of, do I have a spare key at home? Who could get me there to get it?
Yeah.
Oh, Fish, I'm sorry, you're gonna drive me home. And then I was like, wait, no, the keys are here somewhere. I will find them.
They were. You opened your bag and they were right there.
I was like, where would I put them if there you are.
There they are. That's why I've put tiles and Apple AirTags on literally everything.
Yeah. Well,
it's ridiculous.
It's nice to know I'm not the only one. Let's see. I do that every time I walk through a doorway. Where am I?
What?
I'm just reading some of the comments from the Discord. People are asking about the music video saying Christmas ? And I am not going to tell you. It is going to be a surprise.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to get better at holding on to my secrets.
Oh.
But yeah, I think we're both pretty tired from that. But yeah, we've got some fun shoots coming up for some stuff, and it's getting me really amped. Like suddenly the year seems like it's almost over.
Yeah, I opened up the calendar yesterday or 2 days ago to just kind of like figure out, where some things are going to go. And as I was scrolling through our calendar, I was like, we don't stop.
Yeah.
We're in it now.
Yeah,
There's
from
no stopping.
like we've been for the last few months feeling like we were ahead because we kept being like, oh yeah, like when this comes, but we're practically in September, and now it's like, all right, full throttle, let's do this. Now it is actually time to get ready for tour. It's actually time to be like doing all the music videos, and which I'm like smiling so big as I say it because I'm so excited.
We love this time of year.
And I had a great conversation with the guy that I was, he was producing the video yesterday. His name's Jake, amazing guy, and he's actually like a friend of mine from college, which is super fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I was having a conversation with him, and he goes, what's my favorite thing about what I do? He's like, I live my dream job. I make film, I make videos, I get to direct, edit, all that stuff. This is what I love. He said, but my favorite thing I realized is that I get to employ people to do what they love.
Yeah.
And we both just started smiling, and I was like, you're right. I was like, that's, I think, one of the reasons I love touring so much and, like doing all these creative projects is because you get to do it with other people who are working, but they're doing their passion.
Yep.
And, I just want to encourage you guys. And, passion, it doesn't mean you have to be an artist or you have to be like an artsy person and go out there and make, something to be viewed by others. I was just reading a book, and he talks about how there's people who view work as a job. Then there's people who view work as a career, and a job is just something you do to get paid. A career is something you do that gives you notoriety or recognition. It's kind of like your place in the world. You feel like it's your way of contributing to the world. And then a passion, you know, of course, that's when you do something you love and you feel like it's your, it's a calling. And that's when you're passionate about it. So there's a job, career to passion, calling. And he said that in all these studies that were done, and this is actually a book by Sean Aker, who I interviewed last week. It's his. We love him. That was such a fun chat. But he said that there's in every field people who view that job, you know, the same exact job in different ways. Yeah. So some people who are janitors, they see that as a calling. They see it as their way to make the world a better place. Some people who are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies see it as a job, a way to get their paycheck. And so I just want to encourage everybody out there that, one, it's possible, very, very possible to live your dreams and find a calling in your life. And I say it's very, very possible because two, I don't know, semi-competent people sitting right here, Fish and myself, we joke all the time that we just faked it till we made it. Yeah. And we still sometimes sometimes are still faking it. Like when we were making costumes, like 1,000%, I'm like, I am faking this. And I
do this yesterday.
Fish like wowed me with something she faked it to do the other day. I'm not going to spoil it because it's for the Christmas tour, but I laughed so hard when she sent me these pictures of this thing you just YouTubed it, right?
I did. I just sat on YouTube and watched video after video, and I just kept going, I can do this. Wait, I can do this. And every time I got online to like buy one made already, they were to the tune of hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. And so I just got on YouTube and I was like, I'm going to take a swing at it. And I did. And it's amazing.
Yeah. You know, and seriously though, like if you guys,
my calling.
No, that's not your calling. Don't go chasing a career.
I might have to chase a new dream. I don't know.
Shoot. I almost lose her probably once every other week.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've just
come to accept it. Fickle employee.
I'm
so sorry.
But all that to say, like, I just look at our whole entire crew. We're all really good at what we do, but we all are we're just regular Joes that somehow like had the courage to chase a dream and to find our not only our passions, but our calling. Like I really feel like everybody feels like they were called to do this. And this is our contribution to make the world a better place. And so anyways, I just want to encourage you guys and also remind you that calling, like I have a cousin who's so passionate. She's getting a law degree right now. Ooh. And she's so excited about that. I can't think of anything worse.
Oh my gosh,
than being a lawyer. But
that sounds terrible.
That's her calling and she's excited about it. She wants to be in I don't know. Anyways, it was fascinating. International law, which is so spicy and interesting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But anyways, it's just fun to see that it could be anything. So like, you know, go out there and find your calling. And sometimes it may take a little bit of time, and don't be discouraged if you haven't found it yet, because it's there.
Yeah.
You know. But that was probably the thing that stuck out to me the most from our day yesterday.
Yeah. Also, the weather was just beautiful.
Yeah, we really lucked out.
Really lucked out.
It was supposed to be thunderstorms.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like Jake hit me up 4 days prior and was like, so might be thunderstorming. And I was like, oh shoot. Okay.
What would we have done?
I mean, he said it's not looking like it's going to like pour. Yeah. He's like, there might be some showers and thunder. He's like, but we'll, you know, unless it gets close, we'll shoot through it. And I was like, all right, well, but yeah, yesterday was just stunningly beautiful. And I'm very, very excited about it. And it just made me all the more pumped to get ready to do more stuff. But,
absolutely.
But yeah, we're really excited. She's not here yet, but a little bit later, I just don't want you guys to leave. Something Fish and I have talked about a lot is breath work.
Yes.
And we are kind of nerds about it. We share it with everybody we meet.
Yeah,
like
very passionately.
On set yesterday, we were just talking these guys' ear off that were on the crew about it. And they're like, We're like, I'm sorry, we're getting really excited. Yeah. It's just something that's really helped us both. So since we've talked so much about it, we decided we would have our breathwork coach come on.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't even know exactly what we're gonna do. I think we'll just talk to her a little bit about her experience with it.
I guess I'm really curious because I don't know much about, you know, how she got started, like what kind of like made her interested in this. And I would love to ask her about that and ask, like, you know, what kind of set her on this path in life. I think that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own, like, you know, story about how they came into that
Totally.
lifestyle, I guess. Yeah.
Right. How did you find your calling?
Yeah.
You know,
right.
it's basically the question I feel like we get to ask
Yeah.
everybody without saying those exact words, you know,
Yeah.
kind of staying on theme for what we've been talking about. And so, yeah, let's ask her that. Let's ask her, what got her into it. But also I thought maybe the last, 15 minutes, she could take us all through.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You know, a whole breathing exercise, and she'll just explain to everybody like how to do the breath. Even though you can't see her, she can explain it. And, you know, maybe we'll even play some songs in between, and you know, we can all do the breath work through the song. I know we did that once with you guys where we described our favorite breaths. And so, Abby is amazing. I know she's kind of changed both of our lives in, you know, different ways.
Yeah.
So.
And very quick order too. I feel like it hasn't, you know, it's been a chunk of time, but also in the grand scheme of things, it hasn't been that long.
Yeah. I met her I started working with her in January.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I've been peeling back layers of myself as I've been doing this breath work. You know, first, I like to describe it to people as I feel like when I first started doing it, it was a Band-Aid where it's like when I was really stressed or if I couldn't sleep at night or like whatever it was, if I was feeling anxiety, I could turn to my little tool belt and I could do some breath work, and it would then help me calm down or help me sleep or whatever. But as I've started to make it, you know, for the last 6 months, a daily practice, now it's a way of life. It's like, it's almost like it's just softened my entire insides in a good way, not a squishy way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know,
your insides are still squishy.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay.
You know,
probably squishy.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like now it just makes me overall a calmer person where I don't need the Band-Aids as often.
Yeah.
I'm just the way I am is a little more elevated. It's
we
like
had a moment of that today when we were sitting there waiting for that shuttle to come pick us up, and both of us just kind of looked at each other and went, all right, just breathe.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
The world was a little crazy this morning. There was a lot of yelling at the airport.
There was a lot of anxiety. Like it was
lots of honking.
Everybody was angry.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And that's normal for the airport, but it was like extra today.
Yeah.
Like loud, extended honks.
People laying on their horns.
It was just like,
yelling.
That is not necessary. Like everybody calm down. And us being lacking sleep and being in the state where we were both like, oh, well, I can't.
Both of us were totally chill. Like we just laughed.
Just
we
kind of
nervously laughed, but we laughed.
Yeah. And you even said, you're like, take a deep breath.
Yeah. That man asked you what was in your case, and you're like, a violin. And he goes, oh, I thought it was. And then he mimed like shooting a gun. And she was like, can he do that at the airport?
Yeah, he was an airport employee. I was like, I'm sorry. I don't think that's a very good thing.
Oh my God. It was a weird day.
It was a weird day.
Yeah. It was a really weird day. Man.
You know, also just kind of recapping on stuff we talked about last week with Sean, you know, I really am working to implement, you know, I guess not even working at it. I am implementing the things that he talked about in his book about like just making sure to add happiness into my life. And I was actually like, you know, the choice I made this last week when we went to go shoot a video, I was like, I'm actually going to go early because I know people here. And I'm going to, instead of just being like, I'm going in and out so I can get back to work in LA, I was like, you know what? I haven't seen this person in a long time. I love, it was actually a family member. I was like, I'm going to go and stay with my sister and hang out with her and her family for like 2 days prior. And I was actually there 3 days prior and I really enjoyed, and it was like my cup got filled. So instead of just going into session after session and trying to write music, song after song, day after day, it was like taking time to kind of refresh myself, remind myself why I do this, and stop running for a moment so I can enjoy the fact that I get to travel and I get to like do these projects and go places. And we're even going to do that on our next trip. We'll put a little extra day in that we can enjoy the city we're going to, which is not the way I normally work. But I'm just feeling my life grow in a way that this is the way I want it to grow. And like, if I get more success, great. But more importantly, I want to live a fulfilled, happy life. And so it's been nice to implement, you know, and really take into thought the things that I learned in that book. And I just feel like also I'm in the right place to now put that in my life. So I don't know. I'd love to see in the Discord, like what you guys thought about last week's conversation, and if anything stuck with you guys in there. But I don't know, what stuck out to you the most in last week?
Oh my gosh, where do I even start? Well, I actually, after last week, I went and I listened to the full audiobook of, you know, I listened to the full audiobook.
Yay.
And it resonated a lot. I shouldn't speak for him, but my boyfriend told me that it changed his life and, the time that he listened to it. I think probably my favorite bit is, and I've always been a believer in this, I think that perspective is everything. And I think that there is a lot to be said about the happiness that comes from the choices you make of your perspective. And Sean talked about this a little bit, and I forget his exact words, but I remember sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, this is so much of what I believe in. And I'm so happy to hear about these studies that are backing this up. But, we choose to view the world in certain ways, and that affects our health. It affects our happiness. It affects how high our blood pressure is. It affects, our mental health, our physical health, everything. And, we make these choices so subconsciously without even thinking about it, because that's just our normal. It's just what we've been trained to do. Right. And I think that's probably what resonated with me the most, was hearing him talk about the studies that back up how you will live longer when you start changing your perception to just positivity and happiness.
Right. Not only will you live longer, you'll be healthier. You talked about like how cancer and things like that are less in people who are optimistic and happy. By significant amounts.
It's insane.
It's like you don't have the same like actual acidic buildup in your body that is caused by stress. Because like we are chemical beings. And so our health is very much affected by the chemicals in our body, as well as our mood is affected. So like depression is chemical for so many people. It's a chemical imbalance that happens. So, and I like what you said about like the reality we paint, or the perspective you were saying, because it is really, really true that we have this limited, narrow view of our perspective of what happens to us and what we can see, but yet we still fill in the whole story.
Yeah.
We paint the whole picture of why that person did that to us, and that makes them a jerk, or that they probably did it on purpose, and so that hurts my feelings. Or you can assume the best. You can write another story in your mind to fill in the gaps, but the gaps are always going to be there, and we have so much power in the perspective that we paint through the rest of our lives. And I was on the phone with one of my sisters yesterday, and she just had a baby like 3 weeks ago, so she's got a newborn, and she had the baby naturally. So gosh, bless her heart, and there's a lot of recovery that comes, especially when she didn't have any sort of she literally just pushed that baby out. So she's finally was recovering from the baby birth, and she was making herself some tea, and I don't know what happened exactly, but the entire kettle of tea spilled on her leg and gave her a 3rd-degree burn all down her leg and her thigh. Oh my gosh. So much so that she couldn't walk for a couple days. Oh my gosh. It was so bad. And when she was talking to me on the phone, she goes, because I was like, oh, insult to injury, Jen, like what terrible timing. And she was like, she's like, but then I remembered that, like, what if I'd been holding my baby when that happened? Gosh, she's like, at first I just felt stupid and was like, you're such an idiot. How could you do that? And she's like, and then I realized things happen. And she's like, also, what if it like landed on my face or my chest? And it was like, she painted the rest of the picture for herself of, I have a way to view this. I can either say this is the worst thing that could have happened to me. Like, I'm already hurt. I'm already like trying to take care of a baby and children. Or she's like, or I could see it as, maybe I'm lucky. Yeah. Maybe this could have been so much worse.
This could have been worse. I mean, gosh, that you say this now, and I realize that I did this today. I absolutely did this today. So unfortunately, my childhood dog, Daxter, who I adopted, I say adopted. Back then it was much less evil to do this, I guess, and it's no longer a thing. But he was a puppy mill dog. We bought him from a pet store, which is no longer a thing. Thank goodness.
And you didn't know, I'm sure.
No, I mean, I was in 8th grade. Of course I didn't know. But he was, we bought him from a pet store when he was just a little baby puppy. And today my mom had to take him in to be put down. And he was just about to turn 19 years old. And my mom, just bless her heart, she was, beside herself. And we sat on the phone for a long time, just, letting it cry, letting it out. And I reminded her, I said, Mom, you gave him the most wonderful life. You gave him 19 years of love. You gave him the more life than any dog could ever hope for. And you got to share 19 years with that dog. That's wild. That is so, and it wasn't like I was trying to cheer my mom up. Like, I truly, genuinely felt those things, right? And that was like my initial, that was my default, was to not feel gutted, but to feel extremely happy that I got to share all this time with this little animal. My mom got to share all this time with this little animal. And yeah, it was definitely a shift.
And optimism doesn't have to, like, a lot of times people are like, well, how can you find the positive? Like, it's like you're faking it. And it's like, well, you know, sometimes at first, and we talk about this all the time, maybe it is faking it at the beginning where you have to like really search and be like, okay, I'm grateful for this. Like, okay, I'm going to try to look for the positive. But I promise you guys that it becomes a muscle that gets worked out in your brain. You actually create neural pathways that make new tissue in your brain that signal these thoughts start to come automatically.
They do.
So that it suddenly isn't you like searching to try to like be like, how can I make myself feel better in this situation? You start to automatically see like, you know, and it's true. It's not like people are born optimists or born pessimists. Life and our choices slowly turn us into the people we become. And if there's anything that, you know, the conversation last week talked about that really I think is the most empowering, or that his books talk about and that research shows, is that we are changeable. And it's not this idea that like people say that when you're 25, your brain is fully formed and it's like way more difficult to learn things. That's actually not true. You know, we can keep learning until we die.
I actually started implementing that. I think I was telling you about this before. I started implementing that because of Sean and what he said. I love the Japanese language. I think it is so cool. And I took a few years of it in school and I did really well back then, but then, you know, I moved on and I did not retain an ounce of it. And I've decided that I would really like to learn Japanese again. And I've tried over and over again for probably the last decade to relearn the language and have failed every time. I just don't retain it. And I think it's because I go into it thinking my brain has stopped growing. I can no longer retain this. And so this time around, I went into it saying, I'm going to retain this. I am going to learn Japanese.
And I can.
It's easy. I'm going to learn this. And I have aced every test I've taken so far. It's sticking with me. And I just have this like positivity about it. And I'm learning much faster than I ever have before. So, oh my gosh, it's working.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, Oliver says, I hope that I could learn to be an optimist. That's what he was saying in the chat just now. And you can. And there are very practical ways to do it. One is by writing a gratitude journal. Every day, find 3, you know, try to think of unique things for that day rather than just like, okay, I'm grateful for my family. I'm thankful for the, you know, my house, like whatever it is that's like, you know, you don't want to say the same thing. You have to like cause your mind to search. And that searching habit,
those connections.
Yes, it's literally creating connection of your mind to search the day for something good. And I did this I'm going to start doing it again. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to start doing this tonight. I fell off the gratitude journal path probably like 6 months ago, and I need to start up again. So I'm going to start tonight again, but I did it for like 2 years straight, and it changed my brain. It really did. It turned me into the optimist that I don't even know when I'd stopped being. And I realized it at one point. I was like, hey, I used to be positive. I'm a super negative person and I do not like that. And I'm going to change it. So that's one very simple and such an effective way. Gratitude journaling every night. Write 3 to 5 things that you are grateful for and search from that day.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's one way. And, you know, kind of like you're saying, I love your story about learning Japanese. It's just you this time believed you could do it and you're doing it, you know, just by that simple mind shift. And I will say, actually Abby's told me once in one of our sessions, I was just telling her I was having a rough time and I was discouraged. I'd been going to a lot of writing sessions and I hadn't written anything good. And I was talking about it and she goes, you have a pretty negative mindset about your writing sessions. She's like, you have already painted the story before you walk in that room. She's like, you started by telling me that writing is really hard for you, that writing is, it makes you uncomfortable. You're telling me this. You're telling your mind before you even go to the session that you're going to be uncomfortable in that room and that you're not very good at it. And so I've stopped doing that. And now when people ask me like what I'm doing, you know, and if we dig deeper into it, I'll say, you know, my favorite part of the process is once I'm done with the music and I get to bring it to life. But I talk about it in a positive sense of that's my favorite part. I don't have to lie to myself and be like, I love, like my favorite part is the writing process. Like, no, but I can just put it in a positive light. And now I can say, you know, I'm going in to write today and I'm excited about it. And I can tell myself a new story. And it has changed. I actually am going in to write the next 3 days and I'm excited about it because I've been telling myself for 2 weeks that I'm excited about it. Anyways.
I do a thing where I visualize a road that has a left path and a right path. And in my head, that right path is just painting something positively, and that left path is kind of doing the human default thing and being negative about it. And for years and years and years, I would challenge myself to take the right path, and I would physically visualize that path in my head, and it really did start
That's cool.
It became a natural thing. I mean,
do you make them different? Like, is one colorful and pretty and one's bumpy and gross?
No, actually, I should though. Yeah, it's weird. In my head, it's almost like a childlike. It almost looks like it came from like Diddy Kong Racing or something, and like I'm in like a little go kart.
I loved Diddy Kong Racing.
So much fun. Oh my god, let's get it and take it on tour.
The airplanes.
Oh my gosh,
remember the airplanes?
I will beat you in Diddy Kong Racing.
I like want to say I'm gonna kick your butt.
I just got so competitive.
I haven't played since I was probably like 14.
Probably a week ago, I watched a speed run of it on YouTube. Like, that's how bad I miss it.
Diddy Kong Racing.
Let's play.
Everybody talks about Mario Kart.
Oh, Mario Kart. No.
Anybody in the chat like play Diddy Kong Racing?
Diddy Kong was superior.
It was great because you could be wasn't there a boat?
Yeah.
And there was a little hover boat.
Yep.
You could be a hover boat. You could be a car. You could be a plane.
There were bosses.
And you could race against, like, I could be in a car and you could be in a plane.
Yep.
It was so fun.
I'm sorry that I just challenged you like that. That was so aggro.
It was very aggro, but I'm here for it.
Oh.
I'm now excited. Okay, let's find Diddy Kong Racing. Yeah. But do we have to find an N64?
No, I mean it's 2022. We can just download it on the internet.
But for
we'll let Andy and I take care.
Okay, you guys figure it out, and then we'll duel. I'm gonna look up tutorials on how to.
No, you can't cheat.
How to do this again?
Just get good.
Well, I can't practice if I don't have a Diddy Kong Racing. I have a feeling you're gonna practice. You and Andy,
probably.
Okay.
I think Abby's here.
Yeah. This is a perfect segue.
Yes.
But we've already talked a lot about Abby, so I want to just bring her in. Abby, in case you weren't here before, Abby is my breathwork coach. Actually, both of our breathwork coaches, and we're so excited to have her on here to just talk about, because we've shared with you guys so much about how much breathwork has done for each of us. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, and you just there she is.
Hi, Abby.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we can. You sound great and clear. How has your day been?
It's been good. It's my birthday, as you know. So, just celebrating that.
Happy
birthday. How's it been?
I spent it alone and I wanted to. So I took myself to sushi. That was great. And I worked this morning. I worked with some clients, and the day just kind of flies by, but I've had a lot of love come my way. So that's incredible. I have good people around me. Now I get to spend time with you guys.
Yes.
You are so nice to do this on your birthday and spend it with us. We love you so much. And we were just bragging about you for the prior 10 minutes before we, of course, right as you came on, we started talking about Diddy Kong Racing. I blame Fish.
So sorry.
That was absolutely Fish's fault.
I'm so sorry.
I played that game when I was little.
Nice.
Diddy Kong. No. There we go. No. We knew it was meant to be. Well, next time we have an in-person breathwork session.
Yes.
Are you going to challenge Abby like you just challenged me?
Absolutely.
She gets really aggro when we talk about.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, she's like getting all like fired up right now. She's sweating.
Wow, I don't know about this. I don't know if I can play against you, Fish.
Fish is very competitive.
I am.
In the best way possible, though. It's
like
it gets me amped up sometimes. I'm like,
like the boat race that we would do every night on tour. Ooh.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Yeah, she really got into that. That was funny. You always won, right?
I always won.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to say that was because I was talented, but it was because it was kind of
we actually ended up fixing, making it plan.
But sorry, everyone.
All for I think this year we make it. I think this year we make it a real boat race.
Well, we have to weight the boats down.
Yeah,
we could just do one tug and those dancers flew.
Sorry, guys.
Abby.
Okay.
No, I think it's hilarious. I could talk about like Mario Kart too. I mean, I don't know if you guys played Mario Kart, but I could probably win you at that. Probably.
Oh, okay.
I
actually am garbage at Mario Kart.
Especially that rainbow race one. That one is so hard.
It's so hard. Yeah.
I always go like my eyes go cross-eyed and fuzzy on that one. I'm like, oh, where's that fall? Okay. So Abby, we both wanted to hear from you. I want to hear kind of your hero origin story. Like, what was it that made you get into breath work? And then, from there, what was it that made you realize this was like your calling in life to share it with others?
Oh my, where do I begin? Well, I will tell like a brief, how I got into it. But first of all, thanks guys for actually having me on here today. Actually, I can't imagine a better way to spend my birthday eve. So I really am so excited to be here. So I have always been an athlete. So my dad he almost qualified for the Olympic trials as a runner, marathons.
Wow.
And I just happened to get those running genes. And so I started running I actually played sports, started running, doing lots of marathons. And, I was good. I was fast. And so then the local gym knew I was a runner, and I was in high school, and I would just take yoga classes because it was a way to just stretch as a runner and stuff like that. So these like fitness people came to me and they're like, hey, I was like 18 years old at the time. Now I'm 41 today. But they were like, hey, do you want to teach a running class? And so I was like, sure. So I got certified without really, knowing what I was getting into, and immediately started teaching at the gym, got really into teaching. But it's weird because I was always doing yoga because it was not only a place to just like stretch out my body, but there was something about it that I kept going back to. And it was this just deeper connection to my soul. And it kind of I then created this dream. Okay, well, I'm going to become a yoga instructor. And I kept running and doing all my sports and doing the yoga. And, eventually I was training for an Ironman, actually. An Ironman is like the king of all races. I was a competitive bike racer and runner and all that. And it was New Year's Eve, and it was 2010. And I literally was like running splits on the treadmill, and I was barely breathing. And I was so upset that I was like doing this. I had like an awakening, like a moment where I was like the only one at the gym, because I was at like this gym that was open for 24 hours. And I was like, what the actual am I doing right now? I don't know if I'm even happy. Like, have I even asked myself? And I realized like there was this deeper voice inside that was like, you're just running from yourself. And so I literally like stopped the treadmill and got off. And then I made this decision to not actually follow through with the Ironman because it was actually making me sick. And I was basically doing it for validation, I think, now that I look back. But meanwhile, I'm a teacher, and I'm connecting really well as a teacher. And I've always had this sensitivity, and I've always felt other people and taken on the world. And, many years later as a teacher, I started, teaching yoga just full time only. I left sort of that gym rat industry. It just wasn't for me anymore. And really just like buried myself in this study of yoga. And because I loved it, and it was what made me feel the most I could validate myself on my yoga mat, and I felt love for myself to some degree. And I don't know I guess it was just my calling. I don't know, it just was my calling because it was effortless. All of these just teachers in my life started taking me under their wing as a yoga person and teaching me more. And I would study from the best in the world. And so meanwhile, I'm studying all these paths and styles of yoga, and I'm, doing the thing. And then I'm a great yoga teacher and meditation teacher, and breath I hadn't really gotten quite into yet, even though I was teaching breath. And, but I hadn't really dived into it myself. And then I had a baby in 2018. And that is when I literally fell to rock bottom, because I just did not know what was happening to my body. I was struggling with severe postpartum anxiety. My anxiety, I had a lot of anxiety as just a teenager. That's just something that my family has. We have anxiety that runs in the family, but I have an extra amount of it because I'm so sensitive. And so I just could not figure out how to sort of like function. And I just decided, I found this breath exercise, and I did it. it was right before the pandemic started, actually. And I'm like, I'm going to commit to this one breath exercise. And I know all about the body. I've studied, I've taught this stuff. So now I'm going to put it into practice. And I did. And the rest is history. I mean, after 180 days straight of not really missing, my whole entire life was changed. And I felt like, oh my gosh, like I have to share this with people. And so I just decided to, I created my own course. So then I had this enrollment and these women started signing up for it. And then what was happening after that is they were repeating the course. I mean, this course was meant to just be taken one time. And then you can go on your merry way. You know how to breathe now. But they kept coming back and they're like, I can't get enough of this. And I'm getting like things are coming and dropping into my lap, or I'm getting off my sleep meds, or I'm not taking my anxiety pills anymore, or I'm getting raises at my job, or I'm happier, or my relationship with my partner is better. Or I can cope with just moments of struggle a lot easier. It's just everything I've heard, and so then from there, I just created my online community. And then I met you lovely people, and, I've been working with Lindsey, and I just love this work. It does not feel like a job. It is my purpose. Yeah. It is why I am here. I'm a mom, but I'm also meant to help resuscitate bodies from their trauma, and their hearts need to believe again. So that's basically that's the story.
Yeah.
That's how it all happened.
That's amazing. And I just want to hear from you. Like, Fish and I have talked to this, community on this radio show quite a bit about, like, little things here and there of how breathwork has helped us.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear from you. Like, what is your sales pitch, your elevator pitch to tell people why you think breathwork is important and what it can do for them?
Oh man, alive. I don't even know if there's an elevator pitch, because there's so much that it can do for you. But basically, we have been taught from a young age. I think a lot of us grew up in a place in life where where we were told we couldn't feel anything, or we shouldn't feel. And so we stuffed it down. And so what the body wants to use our past experiences and our anxiety and our depression as a way to create. But now our bodies have become this graveyard, and our bodies aren't recovering at night. It's become this graveyard for our pain, our anxiety, our struggles, and our body just doesn't even know what to do anymore. And so we're having chronic diseases everywhere, obesity, depression, anxiety. And so what breath does, a deeper breath, a deeper breath, a deeper life. Basically start breathing and you're going to live longer. Your body's going to slow down. Your heart's going to come back into rhythm. I mean, there's so much. You can manifest your dreams while you're at it and live longer.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Just the things, and I'll just briefly tell, my experience. I started getting into breath work because I was having so much anxiety, and I wasn't sleeping at night. And a friend kind of, introduced me to Abby and said, hey, this might help you. And I was kind of like, anything. I'm exhausted and I'm stressed and I'm not sleeping. And it was amazing that how much that pretty much immediately made me sleep, first of all. And I was like, I slept through the whole night, and I went to bed and I didn't sit there and toss and turn. So I was immediately sold on that, but I had no idea how deep it would go and how much it would almost I didn't even realize I had been me for so long that I didn't realize that I was almost just tied up inside, constantly tight, constantly self-aware, constantly worried, constantly thinking about how everybody else is doing, what I need to be doing, how I'm doing in any situation. Am I okay? Am I where I need to be? Am I embarrassing myself? I just so hyper aware, and literally a knot was inside me all the time. And by doing breath work, I felt slowly that knot released. And I lived just a much more calm and at ease life. My anxiety has completely quelled. And this is without medication. And I've tried medication. I think medication is a really good option for some people if it works for you. But it wasn't working for me. And so, anyways, breath work. And again, that was just the tip of the iceberg. It's been really cool to see, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm I'm more creative.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
but it all comes from, well, actually, I'd like to hear from you. Like breathwork does so much, as you were saying, like it helps you manifest, it helps you, calm yourself and sleep better and, dream and be more creative. Why do you think that something as simple as breathing, or doing breath exercises brings all these results?
Because breath is our life. It's, we can't live without it. And once we start to bring alive our body creates a stronger auric or magnetic field around it. Most of us don't realize that we're mostly made of energy. And so when we put this kind of energy into our body gets, more magnetic. And we automatically become magnetic for better things, better health, better thoughts. It's just life. We put life back into our body. If you notice people, when they walk around and their hearts are sunk in or their shoulders are slouched, or they have this the shell of themselves, they don't even look like they carry life in them. And when you start breathing into your body starts to open and you start to receive. It's almost like your heart, it just becomes like a magnet automatically, because our heart is the most magnetic part of our body. When we open our heart, we get more confident and feel more alive in our body. It's because we feel better when we breathe deeply. And when we feel better, hopefully this makes sense, we call in better.
Yeah. Well, and some people, they have a hard time with like the, words like energy and aura, but they're very scientifically proven things. Like we do produce an energy that's measurable, that comes from us. And they can even measure the wave, not only the amplitude of how like big it goes, but also the size of the wave. Like these are all very measurable things. And, like performance coaches or life coaches will oftentimes teach you that your energy or your presence will introduce you before you even speak. So if you walk up to someone in a room, like so often we're so worried about like, okay, what do I say so I don't sound like an idiot, or what do I say so I sound professional or sound flirty, like whatever it is we're hoping, that comes from our interaction. But, they say that your energy and your presence will introduce you before you even say a word. And that is more important to focus on than what you say. And, this is coming from like coaches about performing, and they're very practical elements they're talking about here. They're not talking about woo-woo stuff. And so it all kind of makes sense to me very scientifically. I think that's one thing Fish and I both love about it.
I mean, I always tell people when they struggle with terms like aura, I'm like, well, how many times have you met somebody and you think this person seems shy? This person seems angry. Oh, this person seems so happy. Oh, that person lit up the room. You're literally talking about that person's aura. You can see it. You can feel it. What does yours say? Yeah. Like, people just don't realize that these commonplace things that they're already talking about and already feeling and already seeing,
they have names.
There's a term for that. Yeah, that's literally what we're talking about, guys. Like, everyone has it. Like, what you exude and what you put out there, people feel it. People feel it. And
I love that example.
Yeah, you can tap into these things, and not only tap into them in a way where you feel other people more accurately, but tap into yourself in a way where if you say, I want to light up a room, you're going to start lighting up a room when you walk into it. Yeah.
Totally. Being intentional with what you want your presence to be, rather than just like, this is kind of how life has made me feel today. Rather than being reactionary, you become like, actionary in your life. And it's funny, I've even really started to talk about this with my dancers and band before we go on stage, like the power that we each have to present to the audience a feeling. And what do we want that to be? Like when I step on stage, do I want my audience to feel power? Do I want them to feel like, energy? Do I want them to feel love? And, or do I want them to feel my nerves? Like, but I have the power to choose, and all my dancers and bandmates do as well. And we actually do breath work before. I don't know if I told you this, Abby, but we've been doing breath work before every show for the last, 4 shows we've done this summer. And it's been really cool.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Having a whole room. Oh my gosh, it's powerful.
Oh my gosh. Like, that's why it's not, I mean, you're an incredible violinist. Obviously you make that violin dance, but there's something about your intention and doing this before people are feeling that energy. They're feeling your auric field pull them in. They don't even really understand it. They can't, they don't understand it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I want to get into like some practical stuff here,
Yeah.
so, people can have something that they can take away from this
Yeah.
other than just like curiosity.
Right.
So
Yeah.
is there a breath work that you can teach us through the audio? And perhaps like, would you rather do it without music, or would you want us to put on a song? Because if we put on a song,
We
we
can't
won't
hear
hear
you.
you. It
Yeah.
mutes us. So you could either teach us and then we play a song, or you could just talk us through the whole time and we not play music.
And maybe we should also say, is there one that people who are curious,
Oh yeah. Good.
is there one that you would consider like an entry into breath work for people who are just curious and want to know, how do I start this?
Yes. So there's two things that I would tell somebody, because I really like to find people who aren't woo-woo and haven't really done this and they're not used to it, or they're just even somewhat skeptical, because I think it can be intimidating. So that was like, I can be that person that helps everybody. I don't want to just have one type of person be drawn to this work. So say like you're brand new and you're like, I just want to find more stillness in my life. So one thing that you can do, this is on the meditation side because I teach both. And they're both forms of meditation. So breath is a form of meditation. But wake up in the morning, set your timer. You can even do those apps, but something just to do on your own. It's called a heart hold. Basically just like even sit on the edge of your bed, or go even before you go into work, just sit in your car, turn off your ignition, and just put your hands over your heart, close your eyes, and just basically tune into your heart. Just feel it. That's called a heart hold. And then once you feel your heart, put in a few gratitudes. And that may take 5 minutes, but that is everything. And that's not hard to just do. 5 minutes of that, I swear if you did that for now, 30 days straight, you would change. Your life would change just by doing that simple practice. And then as far as a breath, I can absolutely guide everybody through a breath work right now. And I would prefer to do it just like this without music. It's probably easier that way. So this one is very simple. It's called, you guys have done this with me, but it's 4-8-4. So you guys just remember 4-8-4. And this is called reduced breathing. And the reason why we want this type of breath work is because it slows down your body. People think that when you work all day long, go, try, do, and you go home and you just expect your body to sleep. No, your body's like, F off. I don't want you got to treat me better. I want to slow down. So this breath exercise that I'm going to teach you not only gets rid of just anxiety, but it calms your mind, and it also absolutely puts your heart back into rhythm, and so that your heart can slow down. So this is one of the best things you can wake up to and go to bed to, and it's a simple one, and then you can just start doing that. So do you guys want me to start? Do you want me to have everyone?
Please.
Absolutely.
Okay, so just make sure you don't have to be in like some meditative place. You could even just do this sitting at your desk or in like the bathroom stall at work or something. If you just need a second, you can really do this anywhere, except for probably not. I wouldn't drive and like,
Don't drive.
I don't. Yeah.
Find somebody who tried it while driving.
Don't say I've
drive.
tried before.
Yeah, don't do it.
It's a little too calming.
Yes.
Yeah. So just find a place where you can do it, basically. So everyone just close your eyes. Take a moment. Notice your body. Notice how you're feeling without judgment. And you might even want to place your hands over your belly just so you can feel it. And even imagine when you're breathing that the lungs are in the lower back so that you can easily belly breathe. But just take a normal breath in. Just see if you can expand your belly. And then exhale just a sigh out an open mouth, just a gentle sigh. And just do that one more time. Inhale like you're breathing into lungs in your back so your belly expands. Move that through right and left nostril. And then a gentle sigh, exhale. And from here, hold your emptiness for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale through your nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out your nose for 8, 7, 6, 5. Keep exhaling. 3, 2, 1. Hold empty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out your nose. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold empty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale out your nose. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold empty. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more round. Inhale through the nose. Fill up your lungs. Exhale out. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold empty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now just take a breath in, fill up your lungs completely through your nose, and hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Exhale out your mouth. Just let go of all of that. And then just notice how you feel right now in your body just by doing a few rounds of that 4-8-4 reduced breath. Notice that maybe your mind's not racing as much, your heart is not as constricted, or your body doesn't feel as tangled up. And then, yeah, that's a really amazing breath. So that should be pretty easy for people to follow. So yeah, you can open your eyes and come back to this call, I guess.
One of our community members says my body feels funny, and I just want to chime in that that's good and that's normal, and that,
like that.
my body
Totally.
feels funny. It's, trust me when I say that's good and that's normal, and your body will stop feeling funny in a second. But
I kind of like the
totally.
funny feeling.
oh, I love it.
It
Yeah.
makes me feel like warm,
Yeah,
but also like some of the ones we do where they're more active,
yeah,
they'll make you feel tingly all
Yeah.
inside. Like
Yep.
literally you feel like your little cells are so happy. And then I always love it, Abby, when you tell us that, like, you know, imagine that you are becoming magnetic
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
not only your hopes and dreams and all the things you want to manifest, but also just to
Yeah.
like the joy that you
Yeah.
get to feel, but also that you get to give. It just makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I have the ability to bring in what I want
Yeah.
in life. And you feel that within your own body,
yeah.
you know, and that's
Yeah.
what I attribute the funny feeling to.
And that particular breath is the one that my boyfriend and I will do when either of us are like kind of on the edge of having a panic attack, or what one of us gets like irked about something or angry about something. The other one will say, let's do the breath thing, and we'll sit there and we'll do exactly what we just did there. Maybe what was that, 5 minutes less of just
Yeah, a little less. Yeah.
and it's an
Yeah.
instant reset. Yeah.
It's crazy what I feel like sometimes that I'm walking around with the best kept secret, and I need everybody to know it.
Yes.
I'm like, why? I look at people out, like, I'm just like, I can help through the window as I'm driving. I can help you. And that's why I'm like, I've made it my mission. I have this secret. And it's like, if people knew, I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I was just handed this deck of cards in life. Like I'm just meant to struggle. That's their story.
Yeah.
I'm meant to struggle. So they go to bed with struggle and they wake up and they're like, oh no, where's my struggle? I got to find it. I got to find it. I got to find my struggle. Okay, there it is. But people are so addicted to the pain and the struggle, and they don't even realize it gives them endorphins. It gives them control. And so if it's like you're creating with breath new neural pathways so that your body, your brain changes and you start to be like, oh my gosh, I actually like myself. I deserve happiness. You are a creator. If you're listening, you are a creator. You can create whatever life you want. It doesn't matter. Like, your job is to break like free of whatever you've been taught that has kind of like smushed you down in life and made you feel like you're just meant to live a mediocre life. And breath will, when someone says they're feeling strange, I'm actually celebrating you because you're not feeling like in your normal, comfortable, place that your body is. So the more strange you feel, the better. I'm glad you're feeling strange.
I want to chime in that Abby will tell you this, Lindsey will tell you this. I was a skeptic in a way where I was like, this is too woo for me, but I'm going to give it a try. And I mean, definitely Abby can tell you this now. I did a 180. Like, when I see proof like that in my own body in a way that for 34 years of my life I've never seen before, I was shocked. And I am neck deep now in loving this and in believing in it and unfortunately wanting to fix everybody and say, you have to try breath work. Trust me.
Yeah.
It's so accessible. It's so accessible.
I think it's almost too simple for people.
Yeah.
We always look for these big things
Yeah,
to fix ourselves. I don't know, Abby, how much do you think someone has to do, like, to get some benefits from breath work? Like, and one thing that you and I have talked about is that consistency is kind of the key to it. Like, you can do one breath and it will be like a little Band-Aid that can make you feel good for a moment, make your body feel funny or whatever, whatever you feel from it can relax you or help you sleep. But in order to get these like a changing effect where you actually feel yourself change inside and you feel your life start to even out and the highs and lows calm down and the anxiety starts to quell, like, what is it that you feel is the kind of the entry point of, like, if you even did this much a day?
Okay, so the first thing that has to happen is somebody has to have had enough of what they're going through, and they have to decide. They have to decide, I am done with this. I'm done with this same old Groundhog's Day. I don't want to live my life like this anymore. I want to change. And so that's the first. You have to decide. You have to decide because no one's coming to save you. I hate to break it to you. You got to save yourself. And I know that sounds kind of brutal a little bit, but it's like you do have to make a decision. That's the first step. And then my mom always says to me, and it's like, it's so cliche, but it's like, Rome wasn't built in a day, Abby. Or how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? And it's like, you don't think of yourself like going into this new breathwork meditation bank, and you're going to open an account. Okay. And so you're going to start your bank account. And so you're going to put, maybe one day you can put a penny in it, and that's all you got, like a minute. Okay, so you do some breath. You do some 5 deep breaths before you walk into work. You've invested into this new bank account. And so then say like you, the next day you're like, okay, well, I can maybe do 5 minutes. And what I'm talking about with consistency, it doesn't have to be every day of your life. But I would just say to yourself, how can I turn my knob 5 degrees towards peace today more than it was yesterday? Like a 5-degree knob turn to peace.
Yeah.
And then just for me, the way that I work, because I used to train for marathons, like I was saying, I would like have to look at my training routine and see, okay, I run 2 miles today. So for myself, I know how my brain works, and it's also visual. So I just was like, okay, I'm going to do this for 30 days straight, and I'm going to go somewhere between 3 and 11 minutes. And if I missed a day, I told myself I wasn't going to beat myself up, because it's not about being perfect. But I painted this like chalkboard wall on one of my walls in my house, and I just tallied every time I got a breath or a meditation in. And when I started to see it in like real, like with my eyes, how much I'd been doing, it made me more excited to keep doing more. to see the progress. So I like to see my progress. And then I was like, oh, wow. Like I got competitive with myself. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go 180 days. That's 6 months. People say, oh, yeah, it takes 21 days to change. I actually don't believe that. I think that's like scratching the surface. I think that's awesome if somebody can stick with something for 21 days. But if you can stick to something for 180 days, you have got it. You have got neural pathways that have changed. You start to notice big shifts in your body. But we live in such a world where it's like, oh, I'm going to buy that on Amazon Prime and it's going to be on my doorstep in 2 hours. And we're just so used to that world. We don't have to wait for anything anymore. I miss the days when we had to go to the video store, and if like the video was checked out, we had to wait like, I don't know, 5 days to get that video in. We don't have to wait anymore. And people are so impatient. But breath isn't going to happen overnight. But in that moment, you're going to feel strange, or you're going to get dancing cells, you're going to get tingly, and then you're going to be like, okay, I just feel better for like 10 minutes. But then you might feel like in an hour later, you're like, oh, I'm feeling kind of sluggish again. Then do it again. But the more you do it, the more you're patient, the more you build your bank account. Karma, that's what I believe in, or the karmic path starts to turn around, and then the universe or God or whatever you believe in, just higher self, wisdom, love, starts to pay you a return. And if you go on vacation and you're like, I can't breathe every day, that's okay. You have a bank account now. You can draw from it. You have already changed some of your brain. Your body's feeling better. It's okay. Take a break. So that's basically my little spiel on how to get going. You only need between, I'd say even 1 minute minimum, like a minute, a penny. Whatever you can put into it.
Because a minute is better than no minutes. It's great if you can make time to do like I personally, I've been in a nice, like, I guess consistent, 12-ish minutes a day. I do that in the morning. And also one of my friends that does it, she gets overwhelmed with perfectionism, and she's always like, I don't know if I'm doing the breath right. And, Abby always tells her, like, you say, what do you always tell her?
You just have to get the breath in, then you're doing it right. Like, it's not right, wrong. Like, when you think nothing's happening, everything's happening, Just get the breath in for now. The body, universe doesn't expect perfectionism or whatever you believe in. I'm not saying you guys should believe in the universe or whatever, but that's just what I call it for now.
It could be God, it could be nature, it could be the universe, like whatever, whatever your higher power is. I do feel like breath work has helped me connect more to, my version of the universe, which is God. I just feel like because I'm not so like tense and tied up in myself and always like my own dialogue controlling the narrative of my life and my thoughts, I've actually made room to like listen more to my spirit, which is my connection to my higher power, which for me is God. And so it's funny because I feel like sometimes people think that you have to kind of pick and choose, like either you're religious or you're spiritual, either you're into meditation or you're into breath work. It's like, no. All these things I've realized, the more I dive into the different paths, the more you realize they're kind of different languages for a lot of the same concepts, and they're different ways of reaching what ends up being like the same goal. And but I always just love that you remind me and, the different people that you work with all the time of like, you don't have to be perfect. If you don't feel like you're doing it right, there is no real right way to do it. Yeah. And if I miss a day, it's okay. Like, do it tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Abby,
chill. Just kidding.
Right? For sure. The point is to chill with this.
Yeah, exactly. Abby, I know that you are a breathwork coach and you have services that you would provide for people. But for the grand scheme of things, and for people who are maybe like looking to dip their toe in, is there any sort of like literature that you love that you would suggest to people? Any authors, any titles, any apps?
Yes. Well, hopefully one day I have my own app, but let's see. I love the book, The Wakeful Body. It's by, hold on a second, I'm getting it. It's by Willa Blythe Baker. She talks about just somatic mindfulness as a path to freedom. I don't think we realize that our body is where the healing is and the treasure is. And so we have to go in order to heal. in order to get rid of patterning. So that's a really good one. And then I love, this one's more science-based for you science people out there. So it's amazing. It's Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. That's my
you
favorite
recommended
book.
it to me, and I recently read it. It's amazing.
I just think it explains everything so well about how our body reacts to this type of stuff. And it gives you evidence and real data. You know, I mean, one of the people that's in my community now that does the subscription, she was an emergency room. Like, she created this like life-changing thing at the hospital that alerted doctors when somebody was basically dying and they could get there faster. And she's just a science-driven human. And she kind of fought me on this in the beginning. Now she's been doing this for a year, and she was like, Abby, she pulled me aside the other day. She's like, I wish this didn't work. She's like, you proved me wrong. I mean,
that's how I feel too.
She's like, I wish this didn't work, but it's really good for people who think they have control, because you don't have control over much, but what breath does, it helps you respond and control the way you react to life. But when other people aren't going to respond the way you want them to, you know, the breath helps you to be like, okay, I'm staying in myself. And one last thing I'll say before I go on a longer tangent is when you start doing breath work, it's not always going to be pretty. I mean, people show up when they're good. I can breathe when I'm good. Things are going right. But it's honestly how you show up when things aren't going good.
Yeah.
And then when you do the breath work, you might notice things start to drop away that were comfortable for you, or you might lose your job and you're like, wait a sec, I wasn't ready to lose your job. But what breath does, it helps you get more comfortable in the unknown, and you want to be in the unknown in life. That's where you can't predict, and that is where potential resides. So breath is getting you more comfortable in the unknown, and that is where you want to sit, because that's when you call in a different future and you don't rewrite your past. So let things drop away. Let things drop away if they do.
Yeah. And I do think, you know, someone, you know, we know that has been doing the breath work. At first, she kept saying, this is really uncomfortable for me. It's making me more sad. I'm crying a lot. And, you know, and she was like, I just don't think this is working for me. She's like, I know it's worked for you and it's helped you a lot, but it's not making my anxiety better. It's making it worse, you know? And she almost dropped off because she was like, I can't handle this. I'm sad all the time. And I'm so glad she stuck with it, because like you said, sometimes you have to take 2 steps backwards in order to make room, or you have to let something go in order to make room for something new in your life.
Totally.
And she was literally shedding like past trauma and, you know, anxiety from the past and things that she had carried for so long that her generation had told her she couldn't feel. And she was feeling all of it, I think, in mass for like a month. And then finally had this breakthrough where she was like, wow, like now I know what you're talking about. But it took some time. And, you know, and like you said, sometimes breath work itself can be like, the one we did today was really relaxing, but some of the ones that Abby has taught us, they're hard and they are freaking uncomfortable. And it makes you feel like you're getting lightheaded, or you're getting a brain freeze feeling. Or your arms get tired, but it's like you are getting uncomfortable, or you're getting comfortable in being uncomfortable as you grow your capacity to also feel joy.
I often do our breathwork classes with my camera off, because at some point during our breathwork classes, I will burst into tears, and I don't know why. I'm not.
Me too.
There's no active thought in my head that I'm sad. It is just a shedding of an energy inside of me that just bursts out of me, and then suddenly it feels like a light bulb gets turned on inside, and I am so at peace. It's like something crawling out of my soul and out into the universe and left me in a good way, you know?
I've had some sessions where they were heavy, hard tears. And I've had some sessions where it's like, I feel so much spirituality and connection to that higher power and that self. And it brings me literally to like I'm like, why am I crying? Sitting in my house alone, doing breath work. But I don't know. It's been really cool. And I feel like what you talked about earlier, Abby, of like, you know, sometimes you have to let go. That's
man.
become
Yeah,
my
you
word
do.
of the year is surrender. And partially because you've told me to do it so many times, and it's something I've realized I have to have control over my life, and I have
Oh, yeah.
an iron grip on my life. But how is magic going to happen when I'm holding on so tight to the things I think I need? And so I'm slowly learning and embodying, slowly I'm getting there to embody this idea of surrendering, knowing that the universe and God have a bigger picture for me, and I need to trust and let it happen.
Totally. It's like you've got a co-creator, and what breath does is
Mm.
actually it's like nervous system regulation. You have your nervous system, and when you strengthen that and you have joy come into your life, you're not so scared it's going to go away. Your nervous system has been taught it's strong enough to hold joy instead of, oh, I got to sabotage my life. It's not going to stay. I'm going to let it go. And then you go right back to like calling in trauma or pain. And so what breath does is it helps you get a really strong nervous system. And then your nervous system can actually not be scared of joy anymore. And I think that's what we're all more scared of is happiness. It's like we're all scared of actually being truly happy if you think about it, because we're afraid it's going to go away. And so breath helps your body actually keep the happiness and know you're worthy of it. And receiving, people are so not good at receiving. And so when people pay you a compliment, don't just be like, oh, well, thanks, or brush it off or feel uncomfortable. Be like, thank you. Like receive, because the universe is testing you. Can you receive the good? If someone gives you a gift, receive it with generosity and say thank you for that. Start receiving the littlest things, or start, like if you see like a penny on the ground, pick it up, because that's abundance that was shown to you, and start just noticing the good. And that's what breath will help me do, is like that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Breath work. I think the first thing that sold me on it, my very, very first night doing breath work with Abby, we were in Nashville shooting that music video. And for 34 years of my life, I have had a dream every single night that I lay down. I dream, and they're loud and they're vivid and they're bright and they're chaotic. And I often wake up not rested, and my brain just never stops. And that night after breath work, I laid down and I woke back up 8 hours later in the exact same position, rested, and with not I didn't dream. And it was, I remember just laying there staring at the ceiling thinking, what? Are you kidding me? And I had no words for it. I was so caught off guard by how quickly it worked.
Yeah,
Also,
it works.
This whole thing about like abundance and thanking, it's one thing to like thank somebody for a compliment and like take it and be like, well, thank you, yes, I'm going to take that compliment and receive it. But it's a whole nother thing to look around at life and thank God consistently, or the universe, like, or just thank life for the little signs you're giving. And, for example, like, I performed at this festival, a few weeks ago, and I saw this magazine they displayed that had me on the cover of it for their little town, like, and they had like 30 artists performing these headlining shows. And I was like, and someone's like, they picked you as the cover, Lindsey. And my first reaction was, I joked, like, they probably put the artist of the day on the cover and put it out here every day. And then I stopped myself and I was like, no, like, receive that, like, and say thank you. Like, how cool is that they chose, they put me on the cover. Even if they did it every day for every artist, it doesn't matter. Like, thank you for, showing me that someone was excited for my show today. And like, we have that choice all the time to either set things aside and be like, oh, that's a coincidence, or that little sign I just saw, like hummingbirds are a sign of my dad for me. And I can easily say, well, I live in a canyon, of course there's hummingbirds everywhere. Or every time I see a hummingbird, I can say, oh, thank you, I feel like my dad's close, like, and I can choose to see it as a sign, or I can choose to see it as a coincidence, or like not real. And I'm only happier, and I actually see hummingbirds way more when I'm thanking for them, So I don't know, I really liked that comment that you made.
Yeah.
And I taught Lindsey something called breadcrumbs. I think I'm the one that told you about that.
Yeah, you are.
Well, so when people, for example, say like you have this dream and you want to buy a new house. You want a dream house. And then you start seeing people all around you that you that are buying houses, and you're like, oh, I don't have the money to buy a house yet. I'm like so envious of them. Well, actually, celebrate other people buying houses, because that's just showing you what's coming your way. It's like a
Mhm.
way for you not to compare. Comparison is the thief of joy. So if you were to say, okay, well, they got a house, if you celebrate that, that just gets your house or your dream closer to you. I'm just using that as an example. So just know that, like, that's a way to look at that without like getting on social media and like scrolling on that scroller coaster and just feeling down. But like, you know, just know
Roller
that you're,
coaster.
yeah, the stroller coaster. Yeah, just
I
get
like
off
it.
of that for one. But you know, like, just notice when people are like doing the things you want to do. It's just a sign it's coming to you too.
Yeah. Totally. It's fun. It becomes like a game with you and the world around you, and you and, like, I like to see it almost as a game between me and my angels, and which makes me feel really great, because it makes me feel like they are more present in my life when I notice the little things that could possibly be them being present in my life, like, obviously. And I love to play a little game with them where it's like when I see little breadcrumbs for signs of things that I want,
Yeah.
or that I'm dreaming of or manifesting, I can almost, it makes me smile, and I look up and I'm just like, I see you. And sometimes they're funny things. Like, sometimes they're quite humorous, and you realize, like, there's a sense of humor out there, like, that's part of this too. But it's like these fun little signs that become game-like to look for, and it just gets you more excited, and it makes you more magnetic for the things you want, because you're going to work harder for them if you see hope.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
With our last like 10 minutes, do you want to do one more breath before we wrap up, or would you like, what would you like to do?
We can do a faster one that they can feel completely opposite if they want. I'm trying to think of what one I want to do. I think I think we'll just do like fire breath.
Okay, cool.
Because then I don't have to show them, like, I mean, I love the ones with the arms, but yeah, let's do fire breath, you guys. So fire breath. So we all have spinal fluid, and we want our spinal fluid to go up and down more than it does. And once it goes up to our brain, we have this thing called the pineal gland, and this energy, we call it crystallization of the pineal gland. I know this all sounds so weird, but this is the science stuff. It actually is like your own cosmic antenna. When you strengthen that, that is good. You want that. And so that's what calls in, or that's what magnifies things towards you or brings things towards you, is when you are connected to that part of you in your brain. And so what this breath does is it gives you energy for one, but it gets all of that stagnant energy that sits in your belly to move up and out. So you transcend it. And then when you transcend that energy, you have room for just your energy to sit in your body. And you don't have to like sit in this like lingering anxiety that never goes away. So this is a really good one for energy, for feeling better, for manifesting. And it's a rapid breathing technique. So it's all done through your nose. Okay. But before we do that, you can place your hands on your belly again, and you can do this slow. So all of it's done through your nose. So your mouth is closed, and you're going to take an inhale just slowly and expand your belly, and then out through your nose and pull in through your belly. So it's like in through the nose, out through the nose. So you're expanding on the inhale, and you're pulling it in and locking it on your exhale. So hopefully everyone can understand that. So what you're going to do now is you're just going to do that as fast as possible. So it's, or go faster than that. So how about we just start that right now? So close your eyes and begin just inhaling and exhaling as fast as you can by pumping your belly. Last one. Take an inhale through your nose. exhale out and open mouth, just a sigh out. And notice if your hands feel tingly. Notice if your body feels weird or strange. And just imagine with your eyes closed as you look up at the top of your head that this energy that I call it the sleeping dragon, the part of us that we don't pay attention to, that wants to wake up. See it kind of rising up your spine the best that you can and moving to the top of your head. And then, so yeah, that's the fire breath. That's energizing. That helps you get rid of a lot of it helps tease out, the anxiousness. So yeah, that's fire breath.
I love that one.
Me too.
That one's a great one to do to just like kind of pump you up.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, right. Especially after some of those more calming ones that like reset your nervous system and ground you. They can sometimes also make you a little bit tired. So then fire breath is great to then take that grounded energy and just like amp you up a little bit. Like as, for example, before we go on stage and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about how it sounds like labor breathing. And like that labor breathing is breath work. It's
totally
purposefully done. Yeah. To regulate and to keep your nervous system set in a certain way.
Yep. I feel like breath should be a non-negotiable. I mean, like your morning cup of coffee or a latte or tea, like it should be non-negotiable. And yeah, I wish I could tell the whole world with a megaphone right now and just hello, everyone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
No, you're amazing. Thank you so much for coming on our show and just sharing so much of your knowledge. And, and again, these 2 breaths you guys can do every day. They're easy, whether you do it for a minute or whether you do it, you can also look up other exercises. Also, if you want to learn more from Abby, you can follow her on Instagram. I'll put her on my story, and I have a picture from last time we were together, so I'll put a picture and tag her in it. You guys can follow her Instagram so you can see more from like just the knowledge that she shares. She also has a website where you can you can sign up on her website and you can see all these breathwork exercises and videos where she shows them, and you have to register in order to do that. But she provides resources. So I'll tag her.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing and it's life-changing. And, and some of these things, it's like this is your investment into yourself time-wise to just, like you said, replace that morning cup of coffee or add to that morning cup of coffee. This is your
I love my
chance to
coffee still. It's just breath add.
Like, don't get me wrong. But just thank you so much for everything you shared with us. And I hope that, I hope you guys find this something that you could add to your life. And I'm excited to hear, stories and, in the Discord, share with us as you go through this journey, how it's helped you. But everybody's posting in the Discord pictures of like baby Yoda, like, powerfully manifesting energy and like all these really fun memes of like powerful things. So it's making me giggle. But anyways, we love you, Abby, and we'll see you soon.
I love you guys. See you soon, guys.
Say happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. See you soon, though. Bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel relaxed.
I know. I'm all relaxed for the evening. I think maybe we should play a song. Abby gave us some songs that she loves that she wanted to play. I should have asked her which one I should play before she left if she had a favorite. But I'm going to play Everywhere by Arato. I've never heard of this, so I'm excited to play it. But this is one of the songs she said she loves. That was relaxing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I'm zen.
Yeah. I'm gonna have a hard time driving home tonight. Jeez.
Just don't breathe. Don't breathe. Well, I mean, breathe, but like, don't breathe.
Don't like do 4-8-4.
Yeah. That'll put you right in a coma.
Gosh, yeah. It's so funny. I asked Abby once. I was like, Abby, I kind of, when I drive, I feel the anxiety of everyone around me on the road. What kind of breath work can I do as I'm driving to just kind of focus? So she goes, don't do breath work while driving. And I said, okay.
Oh, wrong time, wrong place. Okay, got it.
She's not wrong.
I do really like doing it while walking. Like I love
Yes.
I actually love that.
Yes.
Doing some of the like the Wim Hof breath where it's just in and out, or the one we just did today, or you know, there's several breaths that I love to do while I'm walking. And I literally sometimes will start like, just because I've got my music in my ears, I'll just want to start dancing because it kind of just fills me up with stuff. Anyways, we can go on and on, but thanks for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I'm excited. Like I said, please share stories like on the Discord if you guys have experiences, or if you just, you know, if you like it or if you don't like it, just share with us what you think. And with that, we'll see you guys